Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about Tesla and where I think this stock could potentially be headed. So I kind of wanted to discuss this stock today because it's down quite a bit here, and I had mentioned this stock before back here on another video where we had this potential buying opportunity here for a continuation pattern, and we did see that continuation happen. And in that video I did mention this kind of 5-wave cycle higher that we're seeing. We saw this first wave back here, the second wave here, this was its third wave, and now we saw this fourth and fifth wave. And we came right into that 261.8% extension. It sits previously at about 2,500. I had alluded to the possibility of seeing 2,000 to 2,500 where you'd get a blow off the top move and then potentially we'd see a pretty large move down. And that's exactly kind of what we saw. We saw this big blow off the top move and now the stock's starting to kind of fall from there. It came right into that 261.8% extension. Supply came in and now it's dropping a lot. So I kind of wanted to discuss what we could potentially see here and if you're looking to buy the stock, where you could potentially look to buy it. So usually when a zigzag trend completes its 5-wave cycle higher, you're going to get something called an ABC wave, where you're essentially going to get a 3-wave move down. And usually this is going to come into the 38.2% retracement of its overall move. So that would give you around this 324 level here. I actually personally think we do go below this level. That's going to be your first demand zone you're looking at, is this 324 level. So potentially if you're looking for an intraday bounce or something like that, you could potentially try to buy off this 324 level, but we should see that relatively quickly. Below that level, and you're going to be looking at this 50% retracement at 268, and below that, you're not going to really want to look to buy this stock at all. You've got some demand at that 61.8% retracement, but below that, and the chart's kind of structurally broken here. So I do think what we could see is a drop to this 38.2% retracement right here, and then we would most likely bounce off this level, retrace, and then actually slide to new lows. And where those new lows would either be probably a slight undercut of those lows, depending on how much of this move we retrace when we actually bounce off this 38.2% retracement. We could either slightly undercut those lows and then see a move like this where we'd slightly undercut those lows to run stops and then a bounce back above that pivot and then you'd see a move higher. I do think it's possible we do find demand off this long-term trend line here, but I think a more likely scenario would be a third wave down to this 50% retracement right here, and then we could potentially see a sizable move higher after that. As a long-term investor, I definitely wouldn't look to buy this stock. It trades at a pretty ridiculous valuation. And, you know, stocks that usually have these really inflated valuations do see, you know, 80 to 90% declines. I could give so many examples of so many stocks that have made huge moves like this and have declined 90% from there. I'm not saying that happens here. I'm just saying I wouldn't personally look to get in a long-term position in this stock anywhere near these levels until we see significant declines. But you can trade the stock and you can use it as a trading vehicle. And I kind of want to give a trade that I think could potentially offer a decent risk-reward opportunity here. And that would be when we come into this 38.2% Fibonacci level at this 324 area. I think you could actually take a position off this level. And I think you could use these lows back here as your stop at 274. So if you take a position at, let's say, 324, and you have a stop loss at 274, you're risking about 50 points. And potentially we could retrace all the way back to these highs. Potentially you could make maybe 100 points here, so you've got about a 1 to 2 risk reward in the trade. Usually when it builds out its B wave, it's going to come into the 38 to 50% retracement, and then usually sees further slide from there. That's the most common place you're going to see a bounce to, and I think potentially we could see that unfold, where we could see a bounce back to this $400 level, and then we'd see further slide. So you could potentially take a position off this Fibonacci level here, and then use these lows as your stop. That could offer a decent trade. It's not really the best risk reward, so I personally wouldn't take that, but some people probably would find that trade attractive. And then once we do see that bounce, I actually think you can short against these all-time highs here, and then I think that'll offer a decent trade for a move down to this 50% Fibonacci level at about 268. I think we'll definitely see that over the next few weeks, is we'll see kind of a bounce back to these highs and then further slide. I think that's sort of inevitable that we'll get a move like this and build out this ABC wave, and then potentially you could look to buy a long-term position if you're looking to buy one, and we could see new all-time highs. Totally possible. I just personally don't think it happens. You know, as I mentioned, you don't really want to chase stocks like this because they can decline very fast. And if that stock is able to slice right through that 50% retracement, you don't really have any demand until pretty much this $200 level. And below that, you're really looking into sliding back into this range we had back here. So yeah, anyways, that's kind of my views here. I think on a short-term basis, we do get a bounce back to these highs, and potentially you could take a trade off this 325 level, and we'll see a bounce back to those highs, and then you could look to short against those highs, and then we would see further slide. But yeah, anyways, that's kind of my views on Tesla. If you enjoyed this video or it helped you out in some sort of way, make sure you subscribe and leave a like. Thank you so much for watching.